Hello, everyone, and welcome to We're Screwed. Finally, we're back. It's been years since we did this shit. Uh, this was a brainchild of Old Boy, way back in the Revolution Radio days. This was a no hold barred, say whatever the fuck you want kind of show with no rules. And if you get offended, then this is probably not the show for you. So let's introduce everybody. First off, I have Old Boy with me right down there. I don't know if you can, how do you turn your fucking finger? Right down there is
That's
where
right
he
there.
is. Right there. And then also joining us, our boy Andy Andrews. Y'all know him. He's been on Staring several times, member of Tales. So I'm doing the intro because Old Boy stumbles over his words because he's not too bright. So I'm going to turn over to him now, though, and let him talk a little bit. What do you want to talk about, man? This is your brainchild. What are we talking about tonight?
We're going to talk about everything and anything, motherfuckers. Welcome back to World Screwed. It's your boy, Old Boy. And our new co-host, Andy. What's up, Andy? How you fucking doing
What
tonight?
up? How's it going?
So,
Fuckers.
first off, how's your nights going, guys?
Pretty good now.
Is it? How about you, James?
I'm going good. I'm trying to figure out how to put this thing into full screen mode again.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm right.
yeah, just remember, James isn't too bright on computers, so remember just. So, other than that being said,
top here where the view is. I was calling you not too bright. I'm a dumbass. There you go. Now we're cooking.
So I guess we got three idiots on a show, but
Pretty
so
much.
welcome, guys. Yes, welcome back, guys. It's been about 4 or 5 years since we done We're Screwed. We kind of let it go because Staring got pretty big, and it still is, and we're still going to be doing Staring into the Abyss. That's not going anywhere. We just decided to do something different. Yes, we'll talk about some stuff going on paranormal, but it's not going to be that. We're going to talk about stuff that's pissing people off. Let's start. I live in fucking California. That's going to be the James is going to have a field day today. Just so you know, we'll get this straight. James is very much a conservative on the right. I'm in the middle, independent. Andy, he's a liberal. No, he's not. He's in the middle too. Liberal Andy. But I'm just kidding with you. He lives in Liberal, Pennsylvania. But so there isn't going to be, there's just 3 Republicans. Trust me, I'm not a Republican.
Are we talking politics right now? Is that what we're starting with?
We're just going to talk regions. Okay. How about that?
I got a great question for you if we're talking politics starting this.
Okay. Go ahead.
Do you think that the kid touching, child sniffing, I got to be careful because even though this is no holds barred, I want to say some really raunchy stuff here.
Okay.
Owned by China, criminal sack of monkey shit, Joe Biden. Do you think he is going to be the nominee? Or do you think they're going to drop his ass and nominate somebody else at the convention? Because that's what everybody's talking about, dude. Everybody's been talking about it for a long time. It started with the Q stuff. Everybody was saying it was going to be Big Mama Michelle Obama.
I think it's going to be Michael Obama.
Yeah, I don't think old Mike wants it, though, man. That's what they're saying. They were pissed. Some of the Democrats were pissed because he didn't want to do it. I mean, she didn't want to do it. So I think they're kind of screwed. I don't think they have anybody. They're trying to build up Kamala now like she's somebody, but everybody knows she's a cackling idiot. So I don't see where they have much choice. But what do you guys think, and what do you think is going to happen if they do?
They're going to run Newsom. That's their backup. That's what they've been talking about. And I know it's funny, but the only reason Joe Biden's going to get out because the stuff's coming out about his son. They already, his wife walked out of the thing yesterday. The only thing I'm going to say, and so people know, I vote independent. California has been pushing Newsom to be president. And I think that even if Biden does win somehow, they're going to act there because Kamala, no one wants it as a president. Both sides don't want that. I know most Democrats here in California, crazy as it sounds, a lot of people want Trump to win. And that's only because of the what's going on in California. Here's what you guys should know. Next year, minimum wage in California is going $18 an hour altogether in the fucking state. Because they let restaurants $20 an hour, and it's going to go up to $22 an hour in the next 2 years. And fucking places are shutting down now, like Red Lobster. All these places are going Chapter 7. Why? It's too fucking expensive. But in November, they're going to vote on rent control. Even if it passes, the problem's going to be is people are going to go to the Supreme Court and fucking and they're going to change it. The problem is what's going on in California. 13% of people own their houses. Why? Because companies are buying fucking houses, and instead of renting them to a family for $2,000 or $1,600, they're fucking having 8, 9 people live there and getting $10,000, and they're buying 20, 30 different houses and doing that. And they're getting criminals, felons, people from immigrant there, and that's the least of problem. There's sex offenders coming in. California has a lot of issues, dude, especially with homeless. And we have the most homeless than anybody in your fucking in the state, in the country. And I see it now, even where I live in my high desert. There's like 5,000 homeless people or more now. There's a lot of people. What they're doing is they're sending them from Orange County and LA here because they don't want to deal with it there anymore. LA's got such a problem, you know that, and so does anywhere in the West Coast. San Francisco, Oregon, Seattle. It's Portland, Oregon used to be one of the best places to live till last 10, 15 years. Now look at it, because their drugs are legal. Almost every drug is legal. They show people smoking crack. It's fucking here too in California. It doesn't matter. People do what they want. They don't fucking care. And this is what's happening in this state. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. People can pretend. You go everywhere in this desert where I live. There's people living in the desert. There's it's like Mad Max. You go to LA County, everywhere I was going through Palmdale and Lancaster, there's people living there. There's cities everywhere. Why? Because there's people making $80,000 a year and they can't live they have to pay $2,000, $3,000 for a place to live. They can't afford it. It's too fucking expensive here. That's all. And who's going to run for president? Somebody's got to do something, because it's going to get worse. I don't give a fuck who wins. If we don't get their gas prices, we're going to pay $10 a gallon here in California. We're over at about $5 right now. It's going to keep getting worse. Trust me. If it's crazy. $18 an hour, guys. So what that means, you're going to make $40,000 a year is the low income in California. That should tell you how bad it is in California. It's because we keep having people vote for shit and they don't really fucking pay attention. We voted no on the minimum wage shit for restaurants, and they made a bill anyway and did whatever they want. California does what they want. They don't care. You guys know how Newsom is. I know, James, I know you don't like Newsom, but I'm saying I deal with him because he's here in California. That's our governor.
If you guys would stop voting for Democrats, the shit would get fixed. You know what I mean? That's the problem. Is if you look at every single one of the shittiest cities in America, the places with the highest crime, the highest standard, or the highest cost of living, the lowest standard of living, all these places where there's ghettos and people being treated like dog shit, you look at every single one of them, they all have the exact same thing in common. Dipshit Democrats running the damn place, and dipshit voters voting for the dipshit Democrats. It's the exact same thing every single time. In California, you can't get elected as a Republican statewide. There might be little sections like where you are in the desert where you might have a chance as a Republican, but statewide, there's no chance in hell unless you're Arnold freaking Schwarzenegger. You know, that's the only guy who had a chance since Reagan, pretty much, you know, as a Republican, because it happens every single state. New York is the same way. People are running out of there. Illinois is the same way. California, over and over and over again, same shit happens. These people get in charge and they screw everything up. Why do you think the country's in the shape it's in? Because you got this human barf bag Biden. And the reason that he's getting out is not because of his son. He put his son up to that shit. I'm tired of hearing Biden say that, oh, I love my son. You're a fucking liar. You don't love your son. If you love your son, you don't send your drug-addicted, crack-headed fucking son to make deals with the Chinese and other countries on your behalf because you can't legally do it. You realize what he did? He sent his drug addict son so that he could say, hey, I didn't have nothing to do with it. It was him. So that's some scumbag shit. Don't tell me you love your son and you send your little crackhead idiot son to make the deals for you. Bullshit. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to vote for that guy, man. Nobody voted for him last time. They stole the freaking election. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. You can't say it. Because then all these liberal idiots go crazy. Their hair catches on fire. They piss their pants and spin around in a circle. But it's the damn truth, and you know it. Well, you know it. That's what all these trials are about, dude. They just convicted Trump.
And how'd that work out?
They didn't even name the fucking crime. They said, oh, it's a felony because it's a progression of a crime. Okay, what crime is it? Well, we'll tell you later. after we sentenced him.
But it's look how he went up 6 points. Even CNN. The problem is what happened with that case is Cohen is a liar. Even people on CNN, the one guy, the guy with the glasses, I forget what his Cooper. He even said it. He doesn't like Trump, and he even said he could tell Cohen was lying and doesn't like him. That's pretty
Well, yeah.
bad when CNN saying that. So I mean. The point is, it shouldn't have been in New York. It should be in an opposite, another place, like they said. Like it shouldn't be because New York hates him. Look what they did with him before with the other trial. Of course they're going to get him, and he made it where you don't even have to have a anonymous jury. You could have up to four people say he's guilty. So I mean, and they changed it the day before. That's where where he messed up. The whole point is with what's going on. Like I tell people, if Trump wins, they're going to try to impeach him every week. We know this. If the
Well, yeah.
Democrats they get the House back, you know what's coming. Every week they're going to try to impeach him on every little thing, and that's the only thing I have an issue. Do we really want to go for 4 years of them trying to impeach him? If they do win the House, and you know what's going to happen because they're already saying they're going to do it, and this is what we're going to face. That's the only thing. Now, the sad thing is.
What's the answer? Do we just let these dickheads destroy the country? Because that's what they're doing.
No, not that.
Anybody they elect. It's not just Trump. It's not like they just don't like Trump. They don't like Trump because he's not bought and paid for like a bunch of these other Republicans are.
I know.
He's his own man. That's why they don't like Trump. But the fact of the matter is, they're going to do it to anybody they put in. They do it to everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah. We can't just let them keep getting away with the bullshit.
I mean, all you got to do is look at all the shit when Trump was in office. Look at Supreme Court justices and lying on them. I mean, anybody that was Republican, they went after him. And that's the thing. And we continue to allow them to do it, and nobody's. I don't even know what the liberal thought process is with allowing the dirty-handed stuff that's right in our face, man. That's how bad it is. It's so obvious, and people just because they have been taught, or however you want to call it, to hate Trump or any other Republican. And what gets me is when I used to ride around with a Trump sticker on the back of my car, and you don't know how many times I had shit thrown at my car. I mean, and this was kids, man. Like, I was at McDonald's one time, and a kid threw a milkshake at the back of my car, and he might have been 12, 13 years old, and that comes from just them driving that any Republican, especially Trump, is horrible, bad, and but then they turn around and do the same shit, and it's accepted. But yeah, that's exactly what it is, man. They're gonna, no matter who we put in there, they're gonna do the same thing. If they're Republican, it's never gonna stop until we actually stop them from doing the shit.
Well, here's the thing. Like I tell everybody, and it's never gonna happen. But I like I said, what needs to stop altogether is, if you look at it how it is anyway, it doesn't matter what because right now, independents, everybody's going for right now. Republican and Democrat, that's who everybody wants to vote, because that independents becoming the third party now for altogether.
Yes.
There's 30% of people are voting now.
I agree.
What I'm saying is that me being an independent, what needs to stop is right, left, red, blue. They're doing it for purpose. If you look at it, it doesn't have to be like that. Okay, Democrat, Republican, that's one thing, but now it's all right, left, blue, red. That's right there. They're right there. They're making two sections. It's either you're going to go red or you're going to go blue. And I don't get that, because what I've always done since I've been, whoever I like the most, I'm voting for. That's what I've always done. And it seems if you don't even vote, even if I don't vote for Trump and I vote for Kennedy, I'm just saying, I'm showing an example. I went and voted for Kennedy. You're not giving a vote to the Democrats. That's not how it works. I can vote for whoever I want. It may not be the person who wins, but that's what we're supposed to all be able to do. You're supposed to be able to vote for who the fuck you want. I don't care. I'm not saying who I'm going to vote for and who I'm not. The point is, that's where it starts anyway. When you have blue and red, that shouldn't be. Why the hell is that? I get Democrat, Republican. I get it. That's different. I get that. But everybody's making it exactly like drawn down line. And it shouldn't be like that. In 80s and 90s, it wasn't like that. Yeah, you had Democrats, Republican. You voted who you liked. Now, if you say you like Republican, you're a fucking devil. If you like certain people with Democrats, you're a fucking asshole. It's crazy. It's like it's getting to the point like if you don't vote a certain way, you're a bad person, or somebody comes after you or wants to fight with you. It happens with me altogether, like that, and that's the way it should never got this far. It should have never got to this point where I can't even vote for. Say that you like somebody independent.
It's our own fault.
Yeah, and you vote for him, and somebody finds out, oh, you didn't vote, you voted again, even though you didn't vote for Trump, you're a fucking asshole. You lost, you took away a vote for Biden. I'm not going to ever vote for Biden. It doesn't matter he's a Democrat or not. I never liked Joe Biden. I am not voting for Joe Biden, so that's not going to happen. That doesn't mean I'm going to vote for Trump, but like I said, I'm not voting for Joe Biden. That he's not getting my vote. He did never. I'm sorry. I've never liked him even when he was vice president. And so everybody knows, when Obama first came in, I voted for him for the first 4 years. After that,
So did I.
So just so people know, I voted for Obama for the first 4 years. So no one can sit there and say, "Oh, you guys are a bunch of Republicans." No, I'm not. Again, I'm just going by views of what I'm seeing in the world. I live in one of the biggest states in the country. I see what goes on. Just so people know, look at how California is. Like James says, it is a Democratic state. Doesn't mean all Democrats are assholes. He's not saying that. He doesn't hate everybody who's a Democrat. There's some decent Democrats I've met that they're even changing their opinion. Like it's too expensive to fucking live here. He's fucking right, dude. Like, look at Chicago. Look at New York. What are they? Blue states? I mean, what's going on there? It's nothing to do with who Republican or who lives there or what beliefs are. It's the point is, when you have states are not enforcing laws, look what's going on in California, LA, they're taking over the streets, taking fucking street racing, doing what they want. They're going and ransacking places, doing in Chicago, doing whatever they want. No one cares. It doesn't matter what is going on. Everybody's going around beating the shit out of people for absolutely nothing. If you saw yesterday, did you see the Pride with the Pride Festival and the parade? Do you see they got in a fight with pro-Palestine in Philadelphia and New York? They all got in brawls over this shit and this is people who are supposed to be on the same side. So I mean, that's crazy.
It's hilarious, oh boy, how that works. Because these freaking leftists are siding against Israel with the Palestinian movement, right? The pro-Palestinian movement. And the majority of these people, especially like in the Pride, the LGBTQ, WXYZ, number 2, a screw, a crown, a pencil, right? Whatever that stupid acronym is by now, it grows every day. Those people side against the Jews with the Palestinian people. The same people that will throw their gay asses off a frickin' building just for being gay. They're supporting them over the Jewish people that will allow them to live in Israel peacefully and free and with all the same rights as everybody else has. Makes no sense. But that just shows you they're not too bright, man. They're just not too damn bright. That's why they vote Democrat. If they were informed in any kind of way, they wouldn't vote that way. Because anybody can see that every single time a Democrat gets in office, everything goes to shit. Inflation goes crazy. Gas prices go crazy. The economy goes to shit. The only example you had that did not happen was Bill Clinton. And the only reason that didn't happen for Bill Clinton is because he listened to every damn thing that the Republicans said in Congress. Because that's when the contract with America came about. That's what caused that good economic time. Was not Bill Clinton. Because if you look at his first 2 years in office, everything went to shit. Just like it always does for a Democrat. The Republicans took over in the midterms. Newt Gingrich came out with the contract with America. And Bill Clinton went along with everything the Republicans wanted to do in Congress, and the economy improved. It happens every single time. But like, you got these people that go out and they protest and they march, especially the LGBTQ community that marches for Palestine. The same people that throws them off the roof of buildings and kills them for being gay. It makes no sense to me. And that's the stuff that they can't reconcile that. You know, they're not capable. And if you ask these people, if you actually go out there and talk to them while they're protesting, they don't even know what the hell they're protesting, half of them. I've seen the man on the street interviews where they go to these colleges where they're doing a protest and they ask them, what is to the river, from the river to the sea? What does that mean? Well, I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Well, what are you protesting for? Oh, I don't know. I just told me to come down here. To the river, to the sea. They're freaking retarded, man. They're dumb as hell. They don't know anything. And that's just the truth. And they can get mad if they want. If they can figure out how to type an email, then I guess they'll type me an email. But they're stupid.
Well, I have no problem with people protesting and saying what their opinions are. That's one thing. But when you're taking over places, not letting people come into work, just damaging stuff, that's not protesting. That's destroying, and you're pushing your agenda. If you want to protest, that's your right. Yes.
All that stuff, brother.
Yeah, but if you would go out and you just protest, that's one thing. Blocking streets, not letting people get to work, starting fights, that's not protesting, dude. Protesting is you go out, you say what your opinion is, that's fine. I get it. That's legal. I get it. I don't give a fuck. And I don't care what anybody does. Like I said, in my family, my daughter is a lesbian. I support her. That's and she's never but my daughter says the same thing. You know, there's some of this stuff is getting to what it is now, and she doesn't agree with it. So
Mhm.
all I'm saying is, and I know, Andy, you see pride because you work at a certain place that you see they come, you're right up in front of it. You actually seen it the other day, and and it wasn't the problem with them. You had issues with other people, but he's dealing with it in Pennsylvania, and he sees it up right away. Is all these parades always nice? Shit always happens. There's you have to realize, and this is what people have to realize. I don't care what you are, but there's always going to be somebody. They don't like us. There's people who want to kill me, dude, and have told me, look at my beliefs. Trust me. There's people who don't like James, want to kill him. Andy, there's people who just, they're never going to like you. And we all understand that. Don't sit here and think we're not sitting here saying that everybody who votes one way is good. There's some dumbasses on that side, especially the guys that run around taking the videos of fucking guns. I'm getting sick of that shit, arguing with the cops. That's the only thing I get. I'm a gun owner, but I'm getting sick of people making videos fighting with the cops and going to federal places arguing with the security police and
Yeah.
the armed police. That shit is getting so out of. Everybody thinks there's some fucking lawyer, and I see that shit all the time. And that's one thing that it gets on my nerves also. And I know this law. You know what? Listen, if you're walking around the streets with an AR-15, like fucking like a busy place, and it's legal to carry a gun, but you're carrying it like you're going to fucking go to war. Yes, you may be carrying it to prove a point, but a cop is allowed to ask you what the fuck you're doing if he gets a bunch of fucking calls.
Yeah.
If you don't, you want to sit there and argue with them on camera and get millions of views and argue about the Second Amendment, that's fine. And me and James have talked about this. He agrees with some of this. That's the stupid fucks to go into Starbucks with, oh, I'm allowed to carry AR-15. Why? What okay, I get it. You can carry it, but what for? So you can get in an argument? You know that's going to cause shit. I don't care if you're allowed. You know, going into a fucking Starbucks with a gun like that is going. You know how people feel. You know somebody's going to call the cops. If you have a gun on your strap, that's one thing. If it's legal in your state, you have a gun on your strap. Like me, it's concealed weapon, so they can't know anyway. But if you in Arizona, if I don't know how Virginia is, Pennsylvania, I don't know how their laws are. But if you're allowed to carry a gun like in Arizona, then if you got it on your strap right there, I get it. But if you got an AR-15 going into Starbucks, you know it's gonna start shit. You know, or like anywhere, you know somebody's gonna get pissed off. They're gonna shoot us. They're gonna. And then you go and fight with a cop because you know that's what you want to do. That's the shit that being a gun owner fucking drives me crazy because that's what ruined it here in California. This is what happened. We had open carry. What happened is you had people arguing with the cops, making videos, and they just said, fuck you guys. And they took our gun. And even though the Supreme Court said it's illegal, we're not allowed to carry open carry unless you're a security guard. I am because I'm an armed guard. I'm allowed to carry a gun if I'm at work or going to the thing, but I'm going to get my concealed and I'm going to get my clearance soon. So I'll be able to carry it anyway. But for something else. But that's what ruined it here in California, because we were able to do it up to like the beginning of 2000, and then you had people. Then they got it where you couldn't carry it. You had to carry separate, unarmed. You could be armed, but it couldn't be loaded, and it had to be on the side. And then people would argue with the cops and made a bigger deal, and then they said, "Fuck you guys," and they banned it like 15 years ago. But you could carry a shotgun in like a rack, like you can. Most people don't do that because they don't know they
I don't
can.
think people do something about it.
No, they don't know shit. They don't know what the fuck they're doing
I
in
don't know.
California. You
I don't-
can roll around with
I
a
don't-
shotgun
so-
rack still.
Why don't the California people do something about it?
We
Why are they
have.
just
Exactly.
The problem is,
the
even if we
Constitution
get the
tells you
vote,
you can carry a gun. If they don't like it, they can fuck off.
I
Why
agree.
why do you let them do that shit? See, that's what I was talking about earlier. They keep voting for these same idiots. They do this shit. They keep doing it. It's like the perpetual victim class. That's what it is, man. Everybody wants to be a fucking victim. I'm so oppressed. I'm so oppressed. You know, like I'll catch shit because I made fun of the LGBTQ bullshit. Just a couple minutes ago, made that joke about it. People will be pissed off and write me about it, I'm sure. I don't give a shit if you're gay. I don't give a dude. I don't care. But you know what? You know what I care about? Get the fuck away from kids. That's what I care about. Stop shaking your ass in front of children. Stop putting books in the damn library showing anal sex and shit like that to little kindergarten kids, man. That's fucked. That's where I got a problem. If you want to do whatever you want to do in the privacy of your own home, I don't give a shit. You can be with another man. You can be with a horse. You can be with a duck. You can be with a donkey. I don't give a damn what you do in your own home. Don't do that shit in front of my kids. You know what I mean? That's the.
But I mean, it's the same thing with heterosexual people jumping around, dancing in videos, and doing the same thing. I mean, look at some of the videos in music. It isn't just gay. It's just they don't give a fuck.
Oh boy, if there was a straight man or a straight woman walking down the street with her dick hanging out, chanting, I would have a problem with that too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Making sure people know.
We don't do that shit.
No,
we don't need that constant validation. We're secure in ourselves. We don't need people to say it's okay that you're weird. We're all freaking weird, dude. Who cares? What you do in the bedroom is your business, nobody else's business. That's between you and God up above, man. I ain't got no part in it. I don't need you marching down the street with your ass hanging out of your chaps, chanting, carrying rainbow flags like some kind of freak. What does that prove? All that does is get in my damn way. All that does is make me have to answer questions that I don't want to have to answer to my children.
Right.
Like that. Why is that guy grabbing that guy's cock and balls? Because they're freaks. That's why. I shouldn't have to have that conversation with a little kid. You know what I mean?
We had it last year. Last year during Pride, I'm right on the square. That's where my store is. So that's where they have the Pride Festival at. Last year, they had a couple show up. Now, this was a guy and a woman. This dude was wearing assless chaps, and she was leading him with a dog chain. You know what I'm saying? And these kids were sitting outside restaurants, man, you know, and I don't understand what the gay part of that is. That's some kind of freaky shit that they do in their own home. It's a fetish, you know, and it's like,
to do with that.
But like I actually one time went to King's Dominion as a job. I had a job with a camping resort, North Fork, and we ended up going the same day that they had Gay Day. That's what they called it. And those people were acting way worse, man, than any straight people I'd ever been around. And I didn't understand that part because I wouldn't put up with a man and a woman making out and grabbing and stuff like that. So why do we have to overlook it if it's two men or two women? Is where I'm coming from. It's like, I don't understand why we have to celebrate somebody's sexual preference. That is where my problem is with it. I do not have problems with gay people. I think that if that's what they want, that's fine. But I do not need to announce it with the things that they do. My thing is, I shouldn't have to accept something that is against my faith or, religion, whatever you want to call it. But that doesn't mean I hate them or anything like that. Nothing at all. If they're happy, then I'm happy for them. And that's what it's supposed to be about. But the thing is, what if we had a day, say, a Christian day, and we walked around the street and sang, hymns and stuff like that? I'm not going to allow it. I know Strasbourg did that, man. When they were all arguing about like the what was it, Harry Potter Day or something like that they have there, and people were upset about the fact that they had pictures of like, what was it, Damon Alley or something like that, So somebody went in and said, okay, well, if you guys have that, we want to do like an evangelist weekend, and they would not let them do it. And that's the thing, it's like we're catering to people because we're afraid they're going to get upset. Well, fuck them, man. If they get upset, they get upset. I'm not going to go out here and just, purposely go give somebody shit about their sexual preference or something like that. But if they're out there grabbing the dude's ass and stuff like that, two dudes, I wouldn't even put up with that if it was a straight couple, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well,
and I don't understand.
We got to stop being nice. We got to stop the bullshit. It's a double standard, and there's always been a double standard.
Yep.
If we do it, we're supposed to be accepting of it and be completely cool. It doesn't matter that they're dressed in drag, shaking their dick in front of a fucking 4-year-old. That doesn't matter. We're supposed to say, oh, it's okay. But if we do anything, then it's not okay. You know what I mean? It's bullshit. And we got to stop being nice. That's where they get us constantly, because we constantly are trying to be civil. We're constantly trying to be nice. We're constantly trying to get along. They're not trying to get along. They're hitting us in the head with fucking bricks while we're telling them we love them. It's bullshit.
I agree.
You know what I mean? And like I said, I don't give a damn if you want to be gay. That's on you, dude. I got nothing against you. I love you anyway. I got no problem.
Exactly.
My problem is keep that shit in the bedroom where it belongs. Don't be doing that shit in front of little kids. Same thing to straight people. Keep that shit in the bedroom where it belongs. Don't be doing that shit in front of little kids.
Right.
But you got to remember, some of these guys, and even some of the people I do know, and they're not for it either. They're saying that some of this has just started for the last 10 years, that they used to just do it, and then they said there's people are just doing it now just to be fucking extreme. And like he was saying, it was now what you were talking, that was BDSM, and that had nothing to do with sexuality. That's just somebody wants to be out there, because I've seen it. There's people dressing up like that saying they want to be able to walk down the streets. It's opening doors. Now what I'm going to say is this: look, I again have a little difference of opinion. Look, remember, gay people did go on and were secret at one time in the 70s and 80s. And what the fuck happened? People went and beat the fuck out of them and tried to kill them. And that did happen. So remember, some of this is their fault. They did keep it away. They did stay away. And remember, it wasn't good enough because some people killed them. And that happened here in my state. They went to gay bars fucking with them. Some of these biker gangs and other people did do this shit. So this is why we're having such a fucked up backlash from what's going on. And like you were saying, it's getting pushed. The point is, I don't give a fuck what you do. If you want to parade, and that's fine. I could care less. I don't care one way or another. But like you were saying, being naked and stuff, I don't get that. If it was straight people being naked, anybody being naked, I don't get why you have to do that. I understand if you want to parade, I have no problem with that. That's one thing. But I have seen some of the shit you're talking about, people naked. Why would you? What's that have to do with being gay or transgender? You don't. I don't get why you have to be naked. I'm talking about even if straight people are running down the street. Anybody doing that? Why? And I've seen straight people going out making videos, fucking in cars and shit. That shit's the same thing. If I see that shit, I'd be saying shit too. That's straight. Anybody doing that. That is not cool for little kids to see any of that shit.
Right.
I'm talking about naked. I'm talking about naked people altogether. I don't understand that, and that's something that I do have friends in the community that said they're not about that. That like that's Some people are just coming out doing that shit. If you're gay, I'm fucking cool with it. I don't care. It's not going to change my opinion. Like James, they have a different belief than I do, and their belief, it is wrong. It's in mine. It doesn't bother me, but I get it where they're coming from if you believe in something, you can't change what somebody believes. You can't. You can try to talk about it, and like with this show, and I would love to have, you know what, I would love to have somebody from the gay community or a transgender eventually on this, because we do have tested instead of fighting with them. And we're not going to sit there and attack him. We're not like that. We would like to talk to him about this issue, because that's what I want to know. Why is going around naked? I don't care about fair. I've been seeing a lot of this shit. That doesn't make any sense. That's if you want to be whatever you're going to be, and that's fine. I'm cool with it. But being naked, I don't care if you're straight. No one should be naked at all. And then they're going to say,
Well,
well, you're telling women what to do. That has nothing to do with that. Men shouldn't be prancing around with their cock out like you were saying, bro. That shouldn't be going on in
well,
front of anybody.
my thing is running the business right there. I had quite a few of them coming into the store, and it seemed as if the most flamboyant ones, the ones that were mostly naked and stuff like that, were probably 25 and under.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
and
the
that's what
younger
it
ones.
was. Most of the older ones that were coming in, that you knew they were very polite. They just acted like you and me. You know what I'm saying? But the other ones, man, they're wearing like all these like short shorts, and one guy, he had a see-through crotch shorts on. You could see his junk, man, all pushed up and bundled up. You know what I'm saying? And he's walking around. I'd say he's probably 20 couple years old. And it's like, why is that acceptable? That should be indecent exposure, and
between the older ones and the younger people, the difference is that when we were coming up, the older people, we were taught what was acceptable and what wasn't acceptable in public.
Respect.
Not just by our parents and their friends, but also by our peers. If you are acting all stupid like that, right? And I'm not talking about being gay. I mean, the flamboyancy, the acting like, you can run your mouth and nothing happens and just be a little asshole, just be a pain and just get in everybody's way and just completely ruin everybody's day, right? If you acted like that when we were coming up, we beat the shit out of you. It didn't matter whether you were gay or whether you were straight. If you were annoying and you were a little asshole that was making everybody pissed off and getting in everybody's way, you got your ass kicked.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Our parents gave permission. Our parents gave permission for everybody to whip our ass if we were out of line,
That doesn't happen. Now they have the bullying stuff all the time. So they don't get their ass kicked in school. They don't get their ass kicked on the street. They don't get their ass kicked at home most times. So if you go through your life never getting your ass kicked, then all of a sudden you don't know your boundaries anymore. You don't realize I can't act. Somebody's going to beat the shit out of me. And old boy talked about in the 80s when the gay people were getting beat up and killed. That sucks that happened. You know what I mean? I'm not for that. 100% I'm not for that. But that doesn't give them the right to teach my daughter how to suck dick at the age of 6. And that's what's happening. They're teaching sucking dick. They're teaching about anal sex, all this stuff. They're dressing up as women and shaking their hairy asses in the kids' faces at drag story hour, all that bullshit that's going on. That doesn't give them the right to do that. That doesn't give them the right to say that a grown-ass man can go in the bathroom with my little girl. Because what happens is they end up getting groped and raped and sexually assaulted. That's what happened. I could give you 100 different news stories about it.
Right.
That is the result of it. It sucks that they got their ass beat for being gay, but that doesn't give them the right to abuse our children. Period.
Well, the thing is, this bathroom whole thing, man, opens up a full free pass for those pedophiles and stuff like that to go in. They don't have to be gay. You know what I'm saying?
No.
And I'm not saying segregate bathrooms for gay people, but hey, we have a nursing bathroom. We have a family restroom. So why can't we have a transgender bathroom? You know what I'm
They have the
saying? And then,
family. They have the family here in California. They have it's unisex, so you could go the either or.
well,
And
that's what
and
they
what
should have.
that's what they have in California. But they also have it. But see, you have to realize some people identify as a woman or a man. In California, it doesn't matter if they're considered a woman or a man. And just get it right. Most people who are transgenders are not going out trying to rape kids.
Exactly.
There's always people pretending to be, and that happens. And that happens,
Exactly.
like you said, with straight.
Oh boy, the overwhelming majority of the people that are groping and raping kids aren't the gays or the transgender. That's not
Exactly.
what I'm
No,
saying.
no,
It's
not
the
at
pedophiles
all.
that are using that bullshit in order to get themselves in there with the kids. It's not
Yes.
the trannies or the gays that I'm worried about touching the kids. I'm worried about them teaching the kids about all this sexual stuff that they don't need to be knowing about. But it's not them that's abusing the children. It's people who are pretending to be that so that they can get in close to the kids. And when you allow them
Exactly.
in the bathrooms, that's what happens. There was a case where a man my age, in his 40s, said he identified as a 14-year-old girl. And he wanted to join the swim team at the high school. So they allowed him, because of this political correct bullshit, they allowed him to do it. He got to not only join the swim team with the 14-year-old girls, but go into the locker room with them and change with them. So you got a naked man my age, dick swinging, with these little girls, man. I mean, 14's a little girl. I don't give a shit what you say. You know what I mean? They got to see this naked man showering with them. Because, oh, well, he identifies. Bullshit. You know what identifies means? That means pretending to be. He's not. I don't give a shit what his
Identifying as a 14-year-old and identify that's a little, like I said, I wouldn't even if most people would have probably killed him. And being honest with you, out in California, you can't be like that. They'll beat you up in jail.
Hold on. I'm saying that you identify as 14 when you're 50. How is that any different than saying you identify as a woman when you're a man? It's all make believe. I could say that I identify as a hot air balloon. It's the same bullshit. It's all in my mind.
Well, you have to realize there's people. Okay, but you got to realize there is people who go out. They take the hormones. They get the surgery done. They are, and I know people. You would, and like I said, I have friends that have done it. You wouldn't even know the difference. They identify as a woman.
They're still not a woman.
Well,
they're just that's all they are, dude. You know what they do? They cut a hole, and you got to jam a thing up in there and spread it to keep it spread every day. That's not becoming a woman. That's mutilating yourself for no fucking reason, because you're still a man. It's a mental illness. It's always been a mental illness. It was classified as a mental illness for a long time until the idiot liberals said it's not a mental illness. But it still is. It's a form of body dysmorphia. And the problem is, if you look at the statistics on the suicide rates for these poor people, they go through all that bullshit to become a woman, right? Then they're even more unhappy because they realize, wait a minute, I still don't feel right. I still don't feel good. I'm still not me. But now I've cut my penis off. Now I got to jam this thing up inside myself to keep myself a woman, right?
Yeah.
Or they do it to kids. They give them hormone therapy so that they don't develop properly. They'll never have children again. Or they give them the gender reassignment surgery, which means cutting their breast off, cutting their genitalia off. It's crazy, dude. You give a kid those hormone therapies, you know what that means? He's never going to have an orgasm. He's never going to be able to have a child. That woman is never going to be able to give birth because you fucked up their development. They no longer go through puberty.
Well, so bro, I get it. I get it, but the point is, it's in America they're allowed to do it. They got the right to be whatever they want. And that's what, it doesn't stop there. If you want to be whatever you want to be, that's your business. Now, if you want to be a 14-year-old and you're 15, I'm sorry, most people are going to, I don't know what school is. I'm going to tell you right now, most people would have stopped that. Something would have happened out of that one. I believe it probably did happen somewhere because it sounds crazy. But if somebody tells me they're a giraffe, I'm not going to argue with them, Biff. They want to fucking believe that. That's one thing. If they're not hurting anybody, fucking let them do it. Because there's people who are out there telling me they believe in fucking aliens, and they don't bother me one bit. And they believe that they're their slavers, and I believe in aliens, but like they really think they're aliens. I knew a guy named Doc. Here's a fucking crazy story. He said he was an alien. He sweared up and down he came from another planet. He told his family, he had his whole family. He was a cool guy. He was from West Virginia. um, they were all cool, but he really fucking believed he was an alien. He used to play this song saying this was his dad. His dad was an alien, and he was in the fucking military, and he really fucking believed he was an alien, and no one cared. He didn't bother anybody, but he told me without fucking straight face, that he was a fucking alien. He was half alien. His mom was regular, and his dad was from another planet. And he told this to everyone, fucking straight face. He went to the military. He worked for the Edwards Air Force Base, and he told everyone he could tell that he was a fucking alien. So you tell me, do you want somebody like that working for you? I have no problem with him. He was a nice guy. He was normal. But he really fucking thought he was an alien.
When the majority of cases like that, like if you go and you say that you are Henry VIII or that you believe you are George Washington or whatever, what happens is they usually put you on like a 72-hour hold, and then they go before a judge and you get put into a mental hospital. The mental hospitals are full of people like that who think that they're somebody they're not. You know what I mean? We don't allow people like that to wander the streets because it's not safe. I mean, back in the time of institutions, it was even better because you didn't have all these people out that thought that stuff. They were locked away where they need to be. You know, if you look at the homeless problem in America, the majority of those people are mentally ill. A lot of those people are people that would have been in institutions in the 40s and 50s, but it got closed down because people were diddling each other and doing horrible stuff. And I'm not for the horrible stuff, but we should have thrown the baby out with the bathwater. We shouldn't have got rid of the institutions because the problem is all of those crazy people still exist, and they're in society fucking everything up. So all they're going to end up as homeless, and they're just going to be a danger to themselves, a danger to other people, a drain on society. You should put them in a mental hospital where they can get the care that they need and be taken care of, so that they're not out in the cold on the street, dying or robbing somebody or hurting somebody. You know what I mean? The majority of cases like what you're talking about, I am shocked that guy did not end up locked up somewhere. You know, because they'll kick you out of the military for being crazy.
Well,
at least that's the way it used to be.
Well, it's just like up here.
Got away with it.
So just like up here, they had a situation in the school up here this past school season where a girl was identifying as a cat. Okay. So they literally had to stop class. If she had to go to the bathroom, they had to stop class, take her outside, let her do her business, and then come back in. That was one thing that the parents were complaining about. Number two, though, so one of the superintendents of the school had a daughter in the same class with this girl. They leave class to go to the next class, and the girl that identified as a cat ends up jumping on this superintendent's daughter and scratching her to the point of bringing blood, everything else. What's the superintendent's daughter do? She knocks the shit out of her. You know what I'm saying? Knocked her out, pretty much. Do you know that they kicked out the superintendent's daughter for 3 days and let the other one get by with it because she was triggered by the color of shirt that the superintendent's daughter had on? And that's how it's just getting out of control like that. Here's how I see it. If you're identifying as a cat and you're trying to go to regular school, I would take them out of the school and I'd take them to PetSmart and I'd let them go there. Or I would take them during lunchtime. I would slap fucking cat food right on their damn plate, and that's what they would have. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to do it the whole fucking way, not just to half. If you're going to be pouncing on people or having to go take a shit, you know, and I mean, they were literally taking this girl outside where she could go, I guess, wherever she needed to go to, you know. And then now they're talking about, not up here, but I have heard that they have voted in some school districts on putting litter boxes in the bathrooms.
Yeah, I read a story
Seriously.
that they have done it before already. See,
But, I mean,
back in the old days, you had a dad. And the dad would say, you'd say, Dad, I'm a cat. Dad would go, you ain't a cat, dummy. No, I identify as a cat. Whack! You ain't a cat, stupid. Problem solved. You know what I mean? I'm not saying
but
abuse children, but sometimes you got to kick your kid's ass to get it through their head that they're stupid. You know what I mean? You're not a cat, dumbass. We've all had that moment when we were kids. When I grew up, I want to be Superman. I want to be able to fly. I want to be able to. No, you can't. You can't fly, dumbass. It's not possible. You want to fly, you better buy a plane ticket because that's the only way you're flying. You know what I mean? You got to, this bullshit of identifying as a cat, identifying as this, identifying as that, it's the fault of the parents. Because if the parents were doing their damn job, they tell their kids, shut the hell up, you ain't that. Period. I don't give a shit what you feel like you are. You're going to feel like you're going to get your ass whooped in a minute if you don't shut up about being a cat.
But I'm a working proof that that's not always a good thing either.
Why, did you think you were a cat?
No. We just so people know, I didn't have the best life. And I some things that I did, I got tortured because I was a heavy set kid, guys, and I got beat up. Sometimes that getting hit is one thing, overdoing it sometimes, and that does happen back there. Some people did that, and my past, I have a different story. When when I was, remember I told you the story when I was a football player, I had missed weight. Back there, you remember, you could only be 150 pounds when you were like 10 or 11.
Yep.
Getting stripped down in my jock, getting run in front of fucking hundreds of people to lose a pound was probably one of the most embarrassing things that ever happened to me. And it stuck with me forever. Stuff like that's why I said, no, I never thought I was a fucking cat. I was always, I was a different kid. I had attention problems. People didn't understand it then. And some people, getting abused is not probably the best sometimes. Getting your ass whoop's one thing. I believe you do something, you need your ass kicked. But some people punching your kids, kicking them in the face, that shit's too far.
I'm not talking about that. That's bullshit. I'm not talking about that at all.
Yeah,
I'm talking about getting your ass whooped when you need your ass whooped. Dude, I had my ass.
That's true. I get that.
And I should have had my ass whooped a lot more. You know what I mean? Because I was a little prick growing up, dude. I mean, before I came back to God, I was not a nice person. Andy knew me back then. I was a little asshole, wasn't I? I was not. Yeah. I was not the guy that I am now. You know what I mean?
I thought you still are, but
yeah, sometimes. I try to be good. I try to be good, but it's the parents, man. The parents have got to set the boundaries, and society has got to set the boundaries. We are failing an entire generation of children. We are making them dumb as hell, bro, because we are not teaching them anything anymore. We're not teaching them how to think. We're not teaching them to question. All we're doing is indoctrinating them with woke ideology in school. We're not teaching them anything of value anymore. And that's a problem.
And you can go back on government with that, man, because they make it so hard to have one. There's no way that one parent can only work if there's two parents. Both of them have to work. So the school systems end up becoming the parent. And we allow them, like when I'm a single father, and with my youngest son, Trevor, they would literally, I was standing there when he graduated middle school. I'm standing right beside him, proud of him, stuff like that. And his teacher walks up, one of the teachers, and she says, you know that only you are going to be able to get yourself where you need to be at. And I said, well, he knows he's got dad all the time to back him up. And she's just like, maybe. And I'm like, maybe. she was like, well, you work quite a bit, so that leaves us in the driver's seat to make sure that your child is getting raised properly and stuff. Bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Or these school nurses, man, that call you up and try to give you, I had them call up and try to give me like, a physician's, like what you would take him to a specialist for.
Yeah.
And they're trying to tell me, they're Band-Aid, Tylenol given, runny nose fucking people. And they want to tell me that I got to take him because he's, got this and that, and you need to do this and you need to do that. Well, why are you even, testing him for that shit? How do you know that he has this? It's like the parent has lost, the school system has been given too many rights, man, and pushed the parents right out of things. I mean, it's like now, just like talking about, if I wanted to crack my kid on the ass because he did something stolen or something like that, now they make it so easy for that kid to come to school and say, my dad beat me with a belt. And they call social services. So parents get freaking scared, man, and come to find out, yeah, the dad whooped him with a belt, like one good crack on the butt. And that kept him from going and stealing again, But they were trying to, as a single father and raising two boys, they were absolutely against me almost in every single aspect because they didn't think I could do it. They didn't think that he needs this, he needs that. We think that he needs this, and we think he's going to. Man, you're a school teacher. Teach fucking math or whatever it is that you're supposed to be teaching. You don't need to be teaching him, the birds and the bees and, what's right, what's wrong, this and that. No, you are his school teacher. You need to send me a letter home if he's not doing well in his math or something like, and that's it. Now, some teachers, yeah. So, I mean, you need to have teachers that care. And if they see an abused child or something, yes, they need to step in on that. But they have become, it's become so, man, I was so happy when Trevor graduated finally because, I mean, it didn't matter, man, what we like, father-son day or something like mother and son dance. Obviously, his mom was gone. So I said, I'll go with you, So back then, so it's all right that somebody can identify as a man that is really a woman or vice versa, but I couldn't go to the mother-son school dance with him because they thought that I was, they didn't see that as politically correct. But yet some guy could come in there with a dress and everything else and sit down and teach my child, like you're saying, about anal sex or oral sex at 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, because that they think that these children need that. They don't need to be telling kids that are in kindergarten and first grade, you're not really a girl, you really want to be a boy. I mean, they are still, their heads, their brains are sponges, man, and they will absorb whatever. And that's the thing. We don't watch the curriculum. We don't hold teachers accountable, stuff like that. They're getting this. I mean, they are literally taught to rebel against their parents. That's pretty much what they're teaching them anymore in school. And they make it almost impossible to parent like our parents used to parent, They can't even, like, there was a kid in school with Jarrett that's parents put him, well, they made him go to bed without dinner because whatever he had done. And all of a sudden, man, they're being questioned and in court for starving the kid. No, he just didn't eat that night because he was an asshole and he wouldn't eat what they put on the table. So his dad told him, so we'll go to bed then, And they literally, man, I was in Stephen City and they had to fight, man, in court. And I'm like, I remember many times, man, that I ate my dinner by myself. If I couldn't act right at the table or something like that, then everybody else would eat. They would make me a plate and I'd come out there and eat while everybody else was somewhere else, you know. But there was nights that I went to bed without anything. Now my mom, knowing you knew her, James, she would sneak me a roll or something, you know what I'm saying? But you know, the thing is, that's the way it was. But I'll be damned if you screwed up the second time you didn't do it, you know what I mean? And that's the thing. It's like the mental, and I mean, I also am a firm believer that the additives and shit that they're putting in foods and stuff are making people fucking flip too, you know? And but yeah, it's tough as a parent right now getting your kid through a school with having a say so on a lot of stuff because they all think that they know what's best for your kid. Bullshit, you know?
Well,
Yeah,
that's the
I would,
problem.
dude, that's what I would do. I mean, you know, that's. I know not everybody can do that because, like you were saying, people have to. Both parents have to work and all that stuff just to try to make ends meet. I get it, but if there was any possible way, I would homeschool. I wouldn't put my kids into this system anymore, man.
Yeah.
It's just completely screwed up. I mean, you watch. It's sad, dude. You watch like the Tonight Show, any of these kind of talk show things, right? Where they do like the little interviews where they go on the street and they interview people, and they'll ask them, "Who is the vice president of the United States?" 9 out of 10 of them don't know.
Exactly.
Who was the first president of the United States? 9 out of 10 of them don't know. But if you ask them, name 3 genders, boy, they know that. You ask them, name 5 alcohols, boy, they know that. You know what I mean? Name 3 rappers. Oh man, they're all over that shit. You know what I mean? Name your 3 favorite TikTokers. Name your 3 favorite YouTubers. All that kind of stuff. Oh man, they're all over it. They can rattle that bullshit off. That doesn't serve them at all. But they have no idea of actual information that would be helpful. You know what I mean?
Agree.
And the scary thing is people get on me because I talk about, you know, that these stupid people are voting and they think I'm being insulting, but it's literally that. It is literally that. If you don't even know who the vice president of the United States is right now, if you don't know who the first president of the United States was, if I ask you how many branches of government are there and you can't answer that question, your dumb ass should not be voting. Because what you're doing is screwing everything up because you're not informed enough to vote.
You should not be even passing that grade if you don't know it.
Yeah. But I think we need to have a test that you have to take in order to vote. That you have to prove that you understand the issues and understand the government in order to vote. That would cut out all the dumb people voting. Now, it'll never happen because they're going to go, oh, you're trying to stop black people from voting. And that, my friends, let me tell you a secret. That is the most racist bullshit I've ever heard.
I agree.
Democrats constantly do that. Oh, you can't have voter ID because you're trying to stop black people from voting. Were you saying black people are too stupid to get ID? I didn't say that. You said that. Oh, black people don't know how to use the computer? They were saying that recently.
Yep.
I didn't say that. You said that. Joe Biden said that if you don't know whether you're going to vote for him or Trump, you ain't black. I didn't say that. They said that. Joe Biden said that Barack Obama was the first articulate, clean black person to ever be elected. I didn't say that. The
Right.
Democrat president said that. He gave a eulogy, a speech at the funeral of Robert Byrd, who was a grand cyclops of the KKK, a Democrat congressperson. He gave a speech, so did Hillary Clinton, called him great friend and a mentor and all these great things talking about it. I didn't do that. You don't see me hanging out with grand cyclopses of the KKK. Them bastards do.
Yeah.
Remember that whole punch a Nazi thing they had going on for a while? Where they called every Republican was a Nazi. They called us Nazis constantly. It's kind of funny how now you see these idiot leftists out on the street protesting and chanting against the Jews for Palestine, siding with the Nazis who also wanted to exterminate the Jews. What do you think from the river to the sea means, you stupid bastards? You're calling us Nazis. You're siding with the Nazis, dumbass.
Well,
It's crazy.
Look, I
And
think
that's
what happens is, and this is what happens with most voting, they tell people, oh, we're going to give you this. We're going to give you free phones. We're going to do that. They tell these people all kinds of bullshit. And then they go and vote. And they didn't really know what they voted on. Because even if they did know some of what you're saying, they didn't really look at the whole thing. They said, yeah, we're going to make it where schools get money. But in that, they'll throw in, oh, yes, we're also going to tax streets. We're also going to tax your house 1%. We're also going to do, they put all this shit in this fucking bill and they don't tell everybody about it. And that's what they do. And I do agree with you. If you're going to vote, you should know what you're voting for. And that's all together. Anybody, whoever you're voting, you should know who the fuck you're voting for. If you don't know who the president is, if you're a Democrat, you don't know who your president is. I don't know how you would if you voted for Joe Biden. You know who it is. Kamala Harris is the vice president. You have to know those are that if you voted Democrat, that's who you voted for. I don't know how you wouldn't know who they were if you knew who Trump was the president before that. He was a Republican.
that's why they put D and R. That is
Yeah.
literally why they put D and R beside them, because these people don't give a shit who it is. They're just going to mark off D,
Yes,
or they're
sir.
going to mark off R. That's exactly what they do. They don't give a shit.
About who?
They don't care. They just get, they get throughout their schooling and stuff. They're told that the Democrats are this, this, and this, and the Republicans are against this and this. And, I've heard some of the wildest shit come out of some people's mouths about, you know what I'm saying? All Republicans are Nazis, like he's saying, or something like that. It's like I literally had a conversation with somebody. Since I'm in Gettysburg, obviously it's always the North and the South discussion.
Yeah.
And this person said every single Confederate was racist. And I said, how can you even say that? You know what I'm saying? You don't know what these people's mindset was. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what they were thinking. Some of these guys were fighting because they didn't have any homes left because they were fucking burned down, or they were fighting for their property or for their farms, their family. There was a lot of them that spoke, officers that spoke that they were dead against slavery. But yet this person was taught this in school that, yeah, every Confederate's racist. And I'm like,
Stonewall Jackson would teach black people, black slaves, and black freemen to read, which was against the law and punishable by prison time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He would go and secretly teach them how to read. Stonewall Jackson, who was a famous general for the South. Robert E. Lee hated slavery.
Yep.
Hated it. But he was a Virginian, and he fought for his home and his family. Because back then, states meant a lot more. But see, the Civil War in the beginning wasn't even about slavery.
Exactly.
That's not why the war was fought. The war was fought over tariffs and stuff like that because the South was the major economic section of the country because of all the agriculture, and the North was the industrial part of the country, and they were trying to tax and tariff the shit out of the South. It didn't become about slavery until the North was getting their ass kicked. And the people of the North said, you know what, screw this, let them go. We don't care. Why we're just dying over and over and over again. We're getting our ass handed to us. Why do we want to keep doing this? That's when the Emancipation Proclamation happened with Lincoln. That's when it became about slavery. It wasn't about slavery in the beginning. Yes, slavery.
It's just like it is now. It's all political, man.
I mean, slavery's been part of our problem since the Revolutionary War time, the Declaration of Independence and our Constitution. They were trying to struggle with a way to get rid of slavery back then. That's what the whole 2/3 of a person compromise come from. That shit's been a problem ever since the beginning, that they've been trying to get rid of it. But that wasn't the basis of the South seceding, and that wasn't the basis of the Civil War. That's what it became to rally the people of the North so that they would continue.
It was political, man. But like they are now. Look at every single thing out here today that they have, say, in the last, probably pre-Obama, it started out, they have turned every single person of difference against each other. Even people against cops, people against the mail system. Remember when that was happening? Gays versus straights. What was it the other couple of years ago? Men versus women. You know, black versus white, Hispanic versus white. They have tried to divide us in every single way that they can, because if they divide us, they can control us. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. All you got to do is pick up the Saul Alinsky's book of radicalism, you know what I'm saying? Rules of radicalism, and read the top 10 freaking things that he talks about. And all 10 of them are exactly what's going on now. And guess who wrote their thesis on how great Saul Alinsky was? Hillary Clinton did in college. You know what I'm saying? I believe Obama did something for him too, didn't he? Like, crazy.
Have you ever looked at the dedication to that book?
No.
When you open that book up, I actually have the book. I'd go get it, but it's in my library, and it'd be a bitch to find. But when you open it up and you look, you know where it says this book is dedicated to? The book is dedicated by Saul Alinsky to Lucifer. So that ought to tell you, right? You know what I mean?
I'm sure, man. But yeah, he talks about using the media and using this and then into the schools, and they're dumbing us down like Oregon, man. You know, they made every drug up there, you know, legal because they're going to dumb us down so they can control us. That's the whole thing, man.
We're not fighting them. That's the point.
Exactly.
They each other's throats, so we don't go after them for what they're doing. You know, so they're free to keep robbing us blind. And I mean, when
exactly,
you talked about it earlier, when our grandparents were our age, you had just a man that would go to work. The mother would stay home with the children. Families were nice. Things were good. Everybody was happy. Society wasn't bullshit like it is now. You know what I mean? But they just screwed all that up. They started, especially in the black community, man. And a lot of that was Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton.
Exactly.
The crime bill that locked up all the black people so that they don't have no fathers in the home. That's what's wrong with the black community, is they don't have fathers in the home anymore. You got single mothers trying to raise the kids all by themselves. The government incentivizes having more. So they say, we'll give you X amount of dollars per child that you have. Doesn't matter if you have a dad or can support them. We'll just keep giving you money. So they replaced the father with the government. They locked all the dads up. And now you got all these angry young men running around the street doing hood shit because all of popular culture says hood shit is cool to do. That's what all the rap is saying. Be a gangster. Be a gangster. Slap your bitch up. Do all that nonsense, right? All of that crap is glamorizing that to children. And children, I hate to tell you people out there, children are fucking stupid. There's a reason why you have to constantly tell your kids, no, you can't fly. Don't jump off the roof, dumbass. You can't fly. No, you're not a bird. I don't give a shit if you think you're a bird. You can't lay an egg. Get off that egg. Now you got egg all over the couch, you dumb son of a. There's a reason why you can't. And Andy, you can tell. And oh boy, everybody that has a kid, you know this shit is true that I'm telling you. There's a reason why they're dumb as shit and they say the dumbest things, and you have to constantly correct them and say, no, dumbass. That's not how that works. Now, you don't say dumbass to your kids. Sometimes you do say dumbass, depending on what they want to do. You know, they think it's perfectly cool to play skip, you know, hopscotch or skip rope or something in the damn street. No, you're a dumbass. Get out the street, you're going to get run over. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you don't talk like that to them all the time, but you're thinking in your head, this kid, there's no way in hell this kid's not going to be successful. God damn it, I'm going to be taking care of this kid the rest of my life because this son of a bitch is dumb. Oh, Jesus Christ! What are you eating? Don't put M&Ms in your nose, you stupid fuck. They don't go there. What do you now? I got to take you to the emergency room.
They're learning what they're being taught, though.
Exactly.
So remember, some of the people who are teaching them are the adults. So you have to realize We're full of it, what's going on in this what's going on right now in the world is you have a bunch of people who just don't know what the fuck they're doing anymore, and they have no purpose. They have no purpose. You have people walking around the streets, don't give a fuck. They don't care what happens. They die, they don't care if they're everything's on the phone. And what we're talking about schools, one thing that needs to stop, and what people are saying, and even if you listen, Billy, certain people who are famous said for the last 10 years, they just sat in the fucking class watching TV on a phone, YouTube, porn. Some people are learning it. If you don't teach it in school, they're going to learn it on the fucking phone. I don't know why people have phone. I get it in high school. I get it. Why do kids in elementary have phones? Oh, because they need a call from their parents. No, I didn't have a fucking phone when I was a kid. Even in high school, I had a pager in my last year, and I paid for it. Why the fuck do you have a phone? You're opening up doors there, and that's what another problem is going to be, and that is an issue. And in the Civil War, what we're going to say is I can't say nothing because I'm from Pennsylvania. I was a Yankee, so I was born there, so I have a little difference of opinion on that, but I will leave it at that. But a lot of people got to realize this North and South. The South wasn't even part of America then. That was the North. That's why I went to the war, and then after that became part of the America, whatever. And that's what people don't even realize that. In the Revolution War, there was only 13 states, and then it became what happened with the Civil War. Yeah, Civil War. Yeah, to the Civil War. I'm saying that later on. But even before that, what people don't realize, everybody thinks that this was a part of America. The South wasn't part of America. California wasn't a part of America to the 1800s. Most people don't even know that. It was part of Mexico for 29 years, and it was something else. It was the Indians owned it before that. So, and it just like with Columbus.
The South
One
was
thing
part of America during the Civil War, though, old boy.
yeah. Well, I get it.
Even during the Revolutionary War, you had like some of the southern states were some of the original colonies, like Virginia was, for example.
Yeah, I remember Virginia, but I'm saying a couple of the states, but not every state was. Just like California wasn't a part of, or New Mexico, certain parts of Texas wasn't even part of the United States either. So, and people don't even realize this. They don't know that. They didn't go through their history and find that out. And they California was. I thought that was part of 1776. No, dude. No, not at all. Hawaii, Alaska, what, 1950? I think for Alaska, Hawaii was 1950. I think. I don't know. No, Hawaii wasn't. But I don't know the exact dates. I'm not no fucking history buff, but I know that those states were the newer ones. Some people think there's only 48 states. Some people think there's 51 because they think Puerto Rico is a state, and it's not. It's technically their own country now because they voted for it. It used to be an American colony. People like with the Christopher Columbus thing. Now we know he's not the the truth on that. The Vikings came 600 years before he did. Why do we even Christopher Columbus actually went on the keys. He never really found America. That I see that point. He shouldn't even be fucking. I don't understand why we praise him anyway. And the Vikings found in 16.
It's impossible to discover someplace
America. Yes,
where
when
people
it's already
live.
been found. There was people there already. Exactly. In fairness, the Indians discovered America.
That's like me going to the moon and planting a flag and saying, "I have discovered the moon." Wait a minute, what the fuck's all these moon people doing? You know what I mean? Okay. If people lived there already, you didn't discover shit. They did. They were already there.
Yeah, exactly. The native Indians discovered America. That Christopher Columbus never did. I don't understand why they ever gave him any. And the Vikings came here before he did. The Chinese did. They came here too. It's proven 1,000 years before that.
But see, that's the thing. That's the thing that you're saying. You're telling the real history, and you're telling why we shouldn't. You're basing why we shouldn't be having a Columbus Day because he wasn't really the original founder. But the thing is, they didn't use the real history to cancel Columbus Day. They used the fact once again that he had slaves on his ship and stuff like, well, sure he did, just like anybody else did. Was it right? No. But the thing is, they didn't tell the real history. They just said, this is why we're not going to celebrate it because he was a slave, owner or whatever you want to call it. And that's the thing, man. We have learned and we have progressed as a country to get away from obviously owning people, other than the fact is now that the government owns us. You know what I'm saying? We cannot do hardly anything without government hand in it. I don't know of anything that we can do that the government isn't right there overwatching. Big brother. You know what I'm saying?
Can't live off of the grid. They making that illegal. You can't even live off because they're not making money off of you. When they can't make any money off, see what people got to realize is they knew 15, 20 years ago, David Chappelle said it straight out. Everything was cool. Everybody was having fun. But they figured they couldn't control people anymore that easy. So they made the internet fucking what it is now. All they do is have everybody separated. Everybody's mad at each other. Everybody hates each other for something, and they're keeping themselves making more money while everybody's becoming broke and hating and miserable and want to kill each other. And that's what they've always wanted to do, and they're doing it. We're falling for it.
They never tell the true history anyway. Like slavery is a prime example. You have all these people screaming and hollering all the time about slavery. Is the white man enslaving the black man? The white man enslaving the black man. White man evil. White man evil. But the true history doesn't say that at all, man. You know who the first slave owner in America was? The first slave owner in America was a guy named Anthony Johnson. Okay, a black man who enslaved a man named John Kaser. Okay, now this dude came over as an indentured servant. This John Kaser guy came over as an indentured servant, but he was lazy as shit. He didn't do the work that he was supposed to do. He just lounged around, scratching his balls, smoking a pipe. He wasn't doing what he was supposed to do. So Anthony said, hey, this is bullshit. I paid for this guy to come over here. He's supposed to give me so many years of work for it. He ain't done nothing. He just lounges around and looks at my wife in the shower. He's a piece of shit. So he goes to court and he says, look, man, this dude didn't hold up his end of the bargain. I paid for him to come over here. He was supposed to work for me for this many years. He didn't do what he was supposed to do. So I think he needs to stay my servant. And the court ruled that he could own that guy, that he could be his permanent slave because he didn't hold up his end of the bargain. So the very first slaveholder in America was a black man named Anthony Johnson. So to say that slavery is a white thing is bullshit. The Irish, oh boy, you're Irish. The Irish, you know, the native tribes enslaved every damn body. Everybody, every race, every nationality, everybody's been a slave at some point in their history. You know, what they don't tell you is that America was one of the early countries to stop slavery, along with England, to actually stop it. America is one of the only countries in the world that fought a war to stop it, even though that's not why it started, but that's what it ended up being, and that was the result, the Civil War. You know, we've come a long way in this country since then. But the same people that these leftists that will sit there and say, because you're white, that means you're a racist slaveholder, right? Those same people, they'll support the Muslims who still own fucking slaves today. They'll support the Chinese who still own slaves today. It's baffling. Logic means nothing. Information means nothing to these people anymore. If they disagree with you, they're going to call you racist. They're going to call you sexist. They're going to call you homophobic. That's what it is. And you can't argue with people who don't know shit. You just can't. Because what's going to happen is they're just going to... It's like trying to play chess with a stupid person. You can't play chess with a stupid person because even if you beat them, they're just going to knock over the board, shit all over the table, and storm out. That's exactly what these people do. It doesn't matter if you prove them wrong. It doesn't matter what you say. You know, look at during this whole pandemic thing, the nonsense that we went through in that bullshit. There was old people dying in the hospital who didn't get to see their family because they had to be kept separated. There were people that didn't get medical care because they couldn't wear a mask because they had breathing problems. And they wouldn't allow them in the hospital without a mask on. But at the same time, we got all these morons out protesting and burning down cities. No problems there. They're perfectly free to be out without masks on. Don't have to be 6 feet apart. Don't have to social distance. Don't have to do nothing. You can be shoulder to shoulder with thousands of other people as long as you're burning down cities calling people racist, doing the work of the Democrats. It's all bullshit, you know? But the problem is the media and everybody goes along with it, and they try to make you believe that you're the one that's wrong. But we're not wrong. They're wrong. They were wrong on masks. They were wrong on social distancing. They were wrong on the Fauci ouchie. They are wrong on every single issue. Always, always, always wrong. Don't let them lie to you. That's what I'm saying. Don't let them lie to you. So what else do we want to talk about? Do we want to wrap this thing up? Do we want to keep talking politics? Do we want to move on to a new subject? How long have we been talking? We're like just under 2 hours, man. This is crazy. What do y'all think?
I'm about ready to wrap it up.
Oh boy, done disappeared. His ass done fell asleep. And he's in California, so he's the earliest of all of us. We're like, me and Andy on the East Coast, it's like late at night here.
He must be peeing or something.
Probably is. Hey, you want to just end the show and stop it and then hang up the call? Oh, shit, he's back. Never mind.
Damn it.
I heard you, son of a bitch. No, I had to charge my phone real quick. I had to put it on a charger because we've been doing it for an hour and a half. Look, this is what I'm going to say. It's not that people are stupid. They're just misinformed and not fucking told the right shit. And that's with everything. Because I could go off on a rant of what happened. Look, I'm going to tell you right now. In the last 2 years, I've had a person say I was a reptilian alien. And my tattoo being King Biel, it's in the Bible. It's one of the demons. It's actually my daughter's name, Bells, so people see that. But it was a Trump supporter who said that I work for the devil and I'm an alien. And she wanted to ruin my career, get me on a fucking show to ruin my career. And then just recently, a Jordicious Jewish person, it's a person who's Jewish who believes in Jesus Christ. I don't care, whatever. I was friends with her. And because I wouldn't change my belief, she's, oh, I can't talk to you. I'm like, okay, cool. See you later. A month and a half later, hits me up and tells me she wants to fucking rape me. And I didn't even talk to her before other than a couple words here and there for the show, and sends me videos and fucking stuff of her singing it. She's my biggest fan, and she's gonna be watching me on this from the low or something. This bitch, I don't want to say anybody's name, but it's both sides, bro. Because I had people for the last 3 months tell me the world was gonna end on April, whatever, is when the eclipse was coming. God's coming back. And how many people told me this? About fucking 30 people, because they saw it on fucking TikTok. I don't even want to get in. My opinion on TikTok is that's the most misinformed shit that happens. That's a lot of our problem right now. TikTok is so fucked. TikTok used to be great. Now it's fucked because you see all this shit. The world's coming every fucking week. The world's coming to an end. Or there's comes conspiracy. I believe in conspiracy theory, but now it's getting to the point where, what is it now? They said in 1991. They made rap purposely for they could keep people in prison, and they had this big meeting with 30 people, and they had the 4 or 5, the number ones, the 1%. They're the ones who made it this way, and that's why now we have all these issues with rap, and they wanted to kill heavy metal and stuff. And I'm like, dude, Hollywood altogether, there's something going on. We all know that. We don't know who's running it. I know it's the 1% that's involved. But you know what? The Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, there's certain groups you just don't fucking talk about. And that's why we're not going to go there, because we couldn't get fucking shadow banned. I could talk a whole show about what's going on with P. Diddy. But, we want to go on another subject. This is my subject. Look, if you want to learn something, don't listen to people. Go look it up. Go look it in a library. Go see what the truth is. Don't go take one side or the other. Find out the truth. If you don't believe something after that, then that's what you're going to believe, man. But at least know what you're, like we were saying, voting for. And what you're actually believing. Just like he was saying, there's people who don't even know what they're fucking protesting. That's true. I've seen it myself. Like, they don't even know what they're fucking protesting. They just think they're going to get something free out of it. Free phones, free vote, free clothes. They're getting to the point where they want the government to do everything.
Exactly.
And we're making
that's
it
what
easy.
The government wants.
Yes. They want you to do this. They want everybody to hate each other. They want everybody to, and it slowly, jobs are going away.
Control.
Yes, you're going to be living in a box, barely getting it. All they want you to do is sit at home. They're going to pay for your rent and your bare minimums of eating and just sitting there, and you don't fucking tell them anything, or you'll regret it. Trust me, that's what's going to happen. It may
That's
not
what
be
they've
in 50
done.
now. It is. And that's what they're doing. And people are so crazy. They're fighting over. I don't give a fuck what you believe in. The point is, they were controlling us. And like I said in the last recent show, you can read 1,000 books and only learn one word. Remember that. And that's what they're doing. They're teaching you 1,000 things, and you're only going, okay, I believe you. It must be true. I see people wearing masks in a fucking car still, guys. You want to talk about COVID? I see people by themselves wearing a mask in a car. I get it if you don't want to go outside and you wear it into the bank. They're wearing it in the car, driving by themselves.
Yeah, but
When they
you
walk
live
up,
in California, old boy. They're not the brightest up there in California. I mean,
I've seen it in other states, bro. Andy, you've
Oh,
seen it, haven't you? Pennsylvania. I've seen it. I've heard it in Pennsylvania. It's happening there too.
It's a pretty blue state as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's about half and half. But
That
Andy
is one
had.
question I want to hold on a minute, man. Here's one question I want to ask Andy. I don't know if he even has the answer to it, but I definitely don't have the answer to it. So this is an opportunity for me to learn from somebody who actually lives there. You lived in Virginia most of your life. I know that because I'm your buddy and we've been friends since high school, so I know where you've lived. Here in Virginia, this is a red state. They say it's a blue state because they cheat in Richmond and up in the Fairfax area. They cheat every time there's an election. There's always extra bullshit. There's always more votes than there are voters. If that tells you anything, that's how they turned Virginia from red. Virginia, 99% of Virginia is red as hell. Okay, Pennsylvania, is that actually a blue state? Or is that kind of like Virginia is, where the majority of it's red and they're just cheating to make it blue?
I'm going to say it's probably exactly the same as Virginia, because I know that doing investigations, man, I was just up in Philly and I was, all around. I mean, like went to Penhurst, that's on the other side of PA. And I don't see Biden signs everywhere. I see Trump signs everywhere. And it doesn't make any sense to me, because we were actually having that conversation coming back from Philly a couple weeks ago, saying, look, all these Trump signs, how in the hell are we a blue state? And it's like, I agree. Now, in my opinion, now I haven't been up in like Pittsburgh area and stuff like that for a while, but I know that Philly and Harrisburg and then down in this way and everything, and then out towards, well, kind of towards like State College and stuff, like where Penn State is. I didn't even see Biden. I don't know if I've seen a Biden sign.
Yeah, I haven't. I haven't here.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think that I've seen that. I know that the Republicans center in Gettysburg is a pretty big building or a pretty big storefront, but I also know that the Democratic one is about, I mean, it's small, man. It's like barbershop, like thin, type of building, and you walk by and they're never open, because we always cut jokes and stuff about both places because, and then the Republican one, they always, like this past Memorial weekend, I walked up the street and there's a guy out front of the Republican building. He's talking to people. The independent guys were standing right down below them. And then I'm like, where's the Biden supporters at? Like, they literally every weekend on the square at Gettysburg have somebody protesting on one corner or the other, or selling their, like last weekend. Now, this is how stupid people are, okay? Guys were coming through the square on their Harleys headed to Rolling Thunder, right? There was guys, kids, in my opinion, standing on the corner praising Palestine, you know what I'm saying? And we're spitting at these bikers driving by. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, how dumb can, and sure enough, man, I mean,
Yeah, I
I'm
hope they
talking
caught
this was 25 yards from my storefront. And most of the guys that work for me were out there yelling at the same ones that the bikers were, but they stopped right in the road, man. You know, and I'm like, that shows you how ignorant and stupid they are, because the cop finally told him, he said, I can't stop you from what you're out here doing, but you have now spit, which is a felony.
Yeah, that's assault.
And you know, but why would you pick these Harley driving? Most of them got POW flags hanging off the back. Most of them are 3 times the size of any of those kids. And you're going to spit at them because they had an American flag on the back of their bike. And that's exactly what the guy said. What does that have to do with Palestine?
Because they think that that's going to stop. They think all these protests is going to stop Israel. They're not going to listen to what we say. The United States. I don't care. You want to vote for, if you want to, protest for Palestine. That's one thing. Attacking people, assaulting people, even if it's on the other side, Israel, any of it. It's because they were doing it in UCLA. They were fist fighting, and if you're protesting is one thing, but when you're attacking, like you're saying, spitting on people, calling people
Exactly.
it's because they don't want to listen to your opinion. That's not you. You're forcing your belief on something. And yes, what is going on in Palestine with the
Exactly.
Jews has been going on for hundreds of years anyway, and it's never going to end. It's going to continuously go on because the Middle East has always been that way. They've been fighting wars for thousands of years. It isn't going to change, and no one's going to stop. Oh, hey, we better stop and go in there and protest with them, dude. You got your protest. We understand. War is not good. No one wants it. Everybody here don't want anybody dying. The point is, we can't tell another country what to do, and we can't. We cannot. Just like people get mad with Russia, we cannot tell them to stop. They're not going to care what we think because they said the
Right.
same thing when we went to go attack the Gulf War. We were told not to do it, and we did it anyway. We're not gonna. We're not. When money's too much, money's being made to fight wars. And people have to realize it sucks, and I don't agree with it, but it is how it's going to be. If you want to go against Israel, that's fine. You want to go against Palestine, that's your right to have whatever you want. But attacking people, fighting over it, trying to kill people, that's not solving. You're making more of a problem than it is. You know
Yeah.
what? That's
The
what you want to
narrative's the
believe.
lies, though, boy. On
Huh?
both of those cases, both of those wars, the narrative we're being fed is complete bullshit
I
lies.
get it. I get it.
Yeah.
But
What is Israel supposed to do?
I get it.
These
I get it.
past Palestine, every single day they shoot missiles at Israel. Every
I get it.
day. For years and years and years. You know, October 7th, they went and they just slaughtered a bunch of people.
I know that. I get it.
What are they
But I mean,
supposed to do?
Israel's done stuff before that, though, bro, and that's true.
If I was Israel, bro, I would wipe them off the fucking map. There wouldn't be a Palestine anymore.
It
Fuck them.
isn't, but it isn't our business to tell them either side to do what they're going to do. They're going to do what they're going to do.
I'm saying
That's
if they wanted to wipe them off the map, I would support them, though. That's my point. Fuck
but
those
you're not
people.
going to
What
have
are they supposed to do? Those idiots keep shooting missiles into their homes every single day.
defend
Yes,
themselves if they
Iron stop
can.
most of it, but what are they supposed to do? Would
I
you?
agree
Would
with you.
you?
They defend themselves, but
Yeah.
don't
What
drop it.
happens if they were shooting shit at California every single day?
We would be
And
shooting
every
back.
time you went to, you had to worry about your kid if they made it to a bomb shelter or not before the missile struck. If you
Yeah,
had to
I
deal
know.
with shit
I get
every day, what would you do?
We
You know what I
would
mean?
be the same way.
And
But I mean,
the thing with Russia and Ukraine, what is Russia supposed to do? The reason Russia attacked Ukraine is because we're talking about putting Ukraine in NATO. Russia has said for decades that is their red line. Do not do that. They share a massive border with Ukraine. Ukraine cannot become a NATO country. Russia's not going to allow that. We are going to go to nuclear war before that happens. I hope that everybody realizes that. We promised Russia when George W. Bush was president. We promised them we will not put Ukraine into NATO. And then we turned right around and said, fuck you, we're going to do it anyway. That has been...
That's because the stuff that's happened with Russia after that, though. Let's be fair. That looking at Russia hasn't been honest with us either. North Korea.
Did you know that Russia asked to join NATO back then? That they begged us to allow them into NATO? But we didn't do it. Why didn't we do it? Why didn't we welcome Russia with open arms into NATO? That's the solution. The whole point of NATO was to protect against the Soviet Union. So wouldn't that be the solution? If they want to be peaceful and they want to join NATO and be our ally, why the hell would we say no?
Because they don't want to keep kissing. They keep being allies with Iran and North Korea. Also, that's another problem. North Korea doesn't.
Didn't you just say we can't tell other countries what to do?
I get it. Then we can't.
Be allies with?
I get it. I get what you're saying. But Russia also wants the Ukraine back as their own part of their country too. That's true. That is the truth. They've said it. They want, and Ukraine doesn't want to be part of Russia either. So I mean, you can't force them to be something. Just like China wants Taiwan back. That's true, and that might happen. And they don't want it. But so should China be able to go in and take over Taiwan?
I'm not on Ukraine's side. I don't have a side. I'm just saying we are being lied to. They're pretending like Ukraine is some place. Ukraine is a shithole. Ukraine is corrupt as hell. That's where the Bidens were doing a bunch of dirty shit over in Ukraine. You know what I mean? They have biological weapons labs all through Ukraine. That's proven. We have those there because we can't do them here. It's against the law. Ukraine is not some great place. You know, they act like the Ukrainian army is such good people. They have a Nazi portion of their army. They have the Nazi insignia. They are the stormtroopers of the Ukrainian army. They are actual Nazis. If you don't believe me, check the left-wing source, the New York Times. Google that. The New York Times ran an article back when we didn't like Ukraine. They ran an article about the fact that the Ukrainian military was made up of Nazis, of actual Nazis. But now all of a sudden,
I've heard about it by Russia.
You know what I mean? Again, it's bullshit. The narrative we're being fed is bullshit. My point here isn't that Russia's great and Ukraine sucks, right? They both suck. Point blank, Russia's not our friend. They wanted to be our friend. They asked to be our friend. They begged us to be our friend. After the Cold War was over, they said, we just want to be a normal country. We want to have normalized relations with Europe. We want to have normalized relations with you. We want to be a member of NATO. We want to be a normal country and have a good life.
Yeah.
You know what our answer to that was? Our answer wasn't, that's awesome. That's all we ever wanted. Welcome, friend. You want to join NATO? We can be allies. We don't ever have to worry about a nuclear war between us now because we're on the same fucking team. Did we do that? No, we didn't do that. We said, oh, fuck you. That means we won. That means you got to do everything we say. Doesn't matter. Let me break it down.
America for you.
Let me break it down like this. Making Ukraine a member of NATO means that there's going to be NATO bases on the border of Russia. Okay? That would be like Mexico making a deal with China to put Chinese communist bases on the Rio Grande River on the border between Mexico and Texas. That's the same equivalency. Now, would we just sit back and do nothing? Fuck no, we wouldn't do nothing. We'd go in and kick the shit out of Mexico, wouldn't we? Because we can't have Chinese communist bases. What did we do when the Russians put missiles in Cuba? Remember that when Kennedy was president? Cuban Missile Crisis? We almost had a world war over that. Almost had a nuclear world war over that. And that was not on our border. That was like off the coast. Imagine if they were putting bases right on the Rio Grande River on our border. That's what we're trying to do to Russia. What did you expect Russia to do? That's my point. Not you. I'm saying, what did people think was going to happen? Of course Russia's going to invade. Of course Russia's going to do something. You left them no option. All you had to do was chill the fuck out and be their friend. But they wouldn't do it. And the reason they won't do it is because they want to be the lone world superpower. They want all of these wars. They want all of this conflict in order to keep feeding the military-industrial complex that Eisenhower talked about. That's what it's all about. It's about the cash, man. It's about money. People
Yep.
die, that people get rich.
What I was
and
saying, war's about money. That's not, there's money to be made when there's wars. That's the way to
That's
make
it.
up for the economy. That's what's going. Right now, we're probably going to end up in a war. It's heading that way. I'm just going to tell you, with somebody. So it's coming. It makes a lot of money. People, it finds jobs, and people get patriotic. Oh yeah, for the next 10 years, people, oh, we're going to war with Russia. I'm just showing you examples. I'm not saying we are, but that's what's going to happen. If we go to war with these companies, we're going to have missiles. It's not going to go in. We're going to go send tanks. It's not going on. We're going to have no one's going to win this. It's no win. There's an end game of blowing each other up. That's what will happen. And that people don't realize that nuclear blast doesn't. And if people ain't stupid, if they bomb California, yeah, it blows up California, but the radiation goes all over the place. It's still going to go in the atmosphere all over the world. It still affects the world. People are so dumb they don't know the difference. That's why people don't do it anymore. Unless something really happens, no one's going to really shoot each other like that, because they know Russia knows we'll just attack them right back and they'll be gone too. There's no win. There's no win in that situation.
But if you don't leave them an option, you don't give them a
Yeah.
choice, they're going to do it. You know what I mean? I'm telling you right now that Putin would rather have a nuclear war than have Ukraine be a member of NATO. Because Ukraine being a member of NATO means that we are going to have bases on the Russian border, which means that our fucking CIA is going to be operating out of those bases. And they're going to be overthrowing Putin. He's going to end up dead in the street. That's what's going to happen. Putin is not stupid. Putin used to be a KGB guy. He knows how our CIA operates. There's no way in hell he's going to allow that to happen, because that means his own death. You know what I mean? So the only way that Ukraine becomes a member of NATO is if we have a nuclear war first. That's the only way. That's what I'm saying, you know?
Well, it could happen, but you got to remember, China doesn't want a nuclear war here in America because they have 20% of the country. They own a lot of it, so they know if America go down, China loses a whole shitload of money, and that's what people don't realize. There's more money to be made in America than there is in Russia, and they know that, and
Doesn't matter.
It does to a point. It
Not
does.
at all. Not even this much. And I'll tell you why. Because when you don't leave him an option, and he knows that if he allows that, he's dead, what does he have to lose?
True.
What good is making money if you're dead? It don't do you no good if you're dead. He knows that there's no way out. If he allows this, that's it. And he's not going to die like peacefully in his sleep. He's going to die like Gaddafi died. We did that. We caused that shit. Gaddafi got beaten, dragged to the street, stabbed, got a knife rammed up his rectum. That's how Gaddafi died. That's how Putin will end up dying. And Putin knows that. He saw that shit happen. He knows what went on there. He's an old spook himself. He knows what the hell the deal is. He knows that's his future if he allows the CIA to have bases right on his border. He'll never do it, bro. And it doesn't matter what all the good reasons for not having a nuclear war is. It doesn't matter if he thinks he's going to be tortured and killed that way. He'll blow the whole fucking world up to stop it. I guarantee it. And so there's very few on this planet that wouldn't. You know what I mean? And everybody could be noble and say, "Oh, I wouldn't do that. I would just take the death instead of let everybody else live." No, not if you were the one that had to do it. You probably wouldn't. Most people wouldn't. You know, if you knew you were going to be tortured and suffer, and your family was going to be tortured and killed, nah, fuck the world, man. That's the way most people are going to look at it, dude. And I guarantee you that's how Putin's going to look at it. You know, so that's the problem, is people are trying to approach this in a logical manner. Logic's got absolutely nothing to do with it when you're in fear for your own life. Logic is out the fucking window. It's about survival. You know what I mean? He knows if he pushes that button and we push our button, yes, a lot of people are going to die. But he can go down in the base, and maybe enough people will be gone when it all shakes out that we won't have the power to take him out anymore. That's his only chance. So I say, don't push it. Don't make him do that. You know, we had the power, and we still have the power, because we're not on the ground fighting Russia in the Ukraine. We're sending them money and equipment, but we're not actually there fighting. We have the opportunity still to say, you know what? Cool. You want to be a member of NATO? We'll let you be a member of NATO, Russia. We still have the ability to be friends with him. It doesn't mean that we have to approve of anything he does or support him and say he's the best guy on the planet. But isn't peace better than war? Why the hell would you not want to have peace with a country that has like 6,000 nuclear weapons? To me, that makes perfect sense.
Exactly.
Well, you got to realize there's no win, no one would win. It would be just the end of the world, except the people who are hiding in bunkers, but it would be the end, and that's what you're basically telling the truth. The point is that like I was getting to it there. If there's no wars, there's no money to be made, though. And that's the problem. There's more money to be made while this is going on by somebody. And I'm not saying, I'm just showing you an example, is there's money being made on this. For them to go to war, we're sending Ukraine money. Somebody's giving Russia money. It's not, I think it's Iran, I know is, North Korea, and I think China is, and China's giving them money too. China's in the middle doing both sides. It's just like with politics. If you give somebody $10,000, but on the side you give the guy he's running against $5,000 just in case he wins, you still buttered their bread, and that's you didn't give him as much, but you still gave him an amount. Don't trust me. A lot of these countries are going back and forth doing the same shit under the covers. Oh yeah, we'll give you this amount of money, even though that we're giving Ukraine 10 million, we're going to give you 2 million. We're still helping, and you're buttering the bread. That's where I think China's doing. They're buttering their bread on both sides. I know they're involved in both sides of this. Just with America, they do the same thing. They want to be where America's at. Everybody wants to be where America's at with money. We run the world. Everything goes. China's right there, number 2. Russia's 3. Russia's lost that dropping down even farther than that. China's right there with us, and they're like, well, I can control both of these. I can end up becoming the number one, the number one country in the world. They want to be. But trust me, China wants to be number 1. So they got the more exposed people. They love this. They love owning our country because there's a lot of money to be made. It's just there's no money in China and Russia. Here in the United States, you make a lot of money, man. There's a lot of shit here. That's why they all go to the Middle East, because the only reason people go to the fucking Middle East is because there's oil. And that's it. It's hot as fuck. There's nothing really out there. I mean, there's Egypt and China, some of the monuments out there, but other than that, it's hot as fuck. It's all desert, but there's shitload of oil. So that's what it's about, money. That's why we're out there. That's why all these countries are out there, either kissing ass or going to war, and it's because money needs to be made. In the end, there's only a certain amount of people who run the world. It isn't us. It's somebody there who's been running the world. Rothschilds, whatever you want to call them, the elite, the 1%, the Illuminati. They have many different names. The Rockefellers, the Soros. Those are the people who really run it all. They own all these places, and they always will. And that's as far as I'm going to say about that, because I don't want to become disappeared or have the show shut off, because they will. And trust me, you don't like the guy, one of the Rothschilds said, I could kill somebody in the street and never go to jail, and he's fucking right. Trust me on that. He's right. He owns the banks. They own everything, and that's why I said those people do what they want when they want. And they're so powerful, just like this guy. He goes around and catches these predators. Well, unfortunately, he went after this guy who was a Hollywood director. That was a mistake, because he was part of the elite. They sent people after this guy. Why would you send? What do they call those things? You fly them around, drones. Why would you send a drone after somebody trying to catch pedophiles? And he caught this guy doing it, watching him, because he worked for them. They got so to the point where they paid somebody in his own camp to tell on him, and they caught him. He was a part of the payroll. That's how deep they are. So when it comes down to it, people think it's all the United States. No. There's a certain family for thousands of years have been coming through the bloodlines and they own everything and they run everything. And if they figure out one way to make money off of destroying us, they will. They won't die because they're probably already safe in some kind of bunker. We all saw Jesse Ventura's shows. I don't know if you ever seen it. And then they took him off because he showed their bases down there. And I know it's getting late. Not where you got where I'm at. It's 2:00 there. I'm at 11 here, but that's why I said we did a 2-hour show, guys. So I hope you guys, like I said, leave your fucking comments. Let us know what you think. Yeah.
3.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it almost, it's 2 there, right?
Yeah.
It's 11, yeah, it's 11 o'clock here. It's only 2 o'clock there.
Yeah, we've been on for like 2.5 hours. Basically, what it boils down to is there'll never be peace because peace isn't profitable.
No.
That's the first point. And the second point is there's only 2 ways out of this mess: through the ballot box or through the battlefield. You know, the ballot box. The only way we're going to do that is we got to get people in there that are going to pass term limits, so that these people can't be in power for 50, 60 years, you know?
Exactly.
And we got to get rid of the permanent bureaucracy that is doing this stuff. And you just got to start. I mean, it can be done. You know, I understand the elites run things. I understand exactly what you're saying, oh boy, and I 100% agree with you. But what I'm saying is it was done before.
Yes.
You know, we had a revolution here before and we were free for a while. And we can be free again. You know, hopefully it doesn't take that same path, but if it does, it does. You know what I mean? But people have got to stop allowing this shit to go on. They got to stop just putting their head down and trying to stay quiet so they don't get called a name. You know what I mean? It's time for the men to be men. It's time for the Americans to stand up and do American shit. You know what I mean? And that's the bottom line. So everybody give your shout outs, your wrap ups, all that kind of jazz, and we'll get out of here.
Go ahead, Andy.
Well, I want to give a shout out to all the investigators out there and all the guys that are doing it for the real reasons. But I also want to give a shout out to the people who are protesting and standing up for what they believe in. There's a way to do it peacefully. And, you know, I've seen a lot of that as well up here. Like I said, it's always somebody doing something. But, you know, I want to give a shout out to, you know, my team members in Vapor and my people at Ghost City Tours as well for kicking ass out there in Gettysburg. And a shout out to both of you two for letting me be part of this.
Thank you, brother. I want to give a shout out to Staring into the Abyss, Tales from the Abyss. I want to give a shout out to Andy. Thank you for being on the show, the newcomer. I'm glad we're doing this again. You're welcome, brother. I want to give shout out to the true paranormal investigators and ghost hunters. Not certain people that have fake dolls and people who they watch a couple ghost adventure shows and think they're investigators or hunters. You know, we don't know how that go, and they'll make up whatever excuse. And the thing is, next show we're gonna talk about some paranormal stuff. We will, trust me. We forgot to do that. That's one thing we forgot. But I hope you guys enjoyed us. We're gonna do something different, like we are with World Screwed. It's gonna be very controversial. I already know this show is gonna get a lot of shit. Where somebody's gonna be a racist, somebody's gonna be hated. You know what? Just so you remember, if you want to come on this fucking show, you could come here and we don't care what you believe in. You could tell us what you think. And we'll say the same shit to you, but don't get offended, like I say. That being said, good night, Misfits, Sugar Ladies, Monster Lovers, and Demon Hunters. I love you and have a fucking good night.
I wanna thank Andy for being a part of this. I'm just thrilled to get to do the show with you, man. I love you, man. You've been my brother for a long fucking time.
That's it.
It's like you live all the way up in Pennsylvania now. It kind of sucks. You're so far away. We don't barely ever get to talk or see each other anymore. But I'm just thrilled to death that you're here. I'm thrilled to death that we're doing We're Screwed again. What people don't know in the audience, this was a very popular show back in the day. The only reason we stopped doing it was because Staring really took off. I mean, Staring was like a fucking rocket ship, dude. It was like zoom, and when it took off, we couldn't do multiple shows anymore, you know, until we got in a good rhythm to where we can do Staring in our sleep, you know. And so I'm happy to be doing this again. I like this show because there's no real rhyme or reason to it. We can talk about anything we want, you know.
Right.
And that's not. I don't like being pigeonholed into only talking about one thing. You know, I'm a guy that has massive interest in all kinds of different categories, and I like to talk about a bunch of different things. Even stuff that I don't know about, I like to just sit and listen so I can learn, you know. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this. Next week, maybe we'll do something having to do with the paranormal, maybe not. We're kind of all involved in the paranormal, so we will be touching on that kind of stuff. We do that all the time on Staring, so there's plenty of that to go around. Who knows? Well, that's the great thing is we could talk about whatever the hell we want. No
That's right.
rules, no time limits, all that kind of stuff. And yet, oh boy, people will get pissy. People always get pissy. Now, who cares?
That's what I say.
Let them send their let them send it. Oh, it's like ambrosia to me. Let them send the hate. I don't give a fuck, man.
Like I
You know
said,
what?
go down to the store, get a can of alphabet soup, and find a D and eat it. And
Hey,
that's what I fucking think. So I mean, and if, like I said, if somebody wants to come on this show, you're welcome to, and we'll talk about anything. But like I said, if you get offended, this isn't the show for you, and go find something you're gonna like.
yeah, that shit's gonna happen. But as always, everybody, it's up to you to make up your own mind. Let us know down in the comment section what you guys think, and we'll catch you on the next one. Till we speak to you again. Love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do we. Bye-bye.
Yeah.